Please welcome to the virtual stage our host and moderator this evening. It's Mary C. Parker.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for that lovely introduction. My name is Mary C. Parker, and I am an applied theater practitioner and improviser, and tonight your host and moderator. So enough about me. Please help me welcome to your screens a Baltimore-based improv team and recent March Madness of Improv competition winners, Cakewalk.
Hello.
I was like, that's too much. Yeah, so how are y'all feeling coming off of this most recent win? Speechless, tired.
Little tired.
Little tired.
I mean, it's been almost a week now, so I mean, we're back. But that was like that run up to the finals was like 4 straight nights of improv. I was like, okay, this is heavy. This is a bit heavy.
Especially after a year of like, I don't know if I want to do improv on Zoom. And then we do 12 shows.
Right.
Yeah. So is that the big? That's not the big online improv comeback for y'all, right? Because y'all have performed online pretty regularly. So do you want to say more about that, Brandon? About like, bump online improv, but I'll do this competition.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I think this year we kind of ratcheted up our online stuff kind of the end of last year, this year. And it was definitely a big shift moving from the stage to your home office / couch to do improv with people that you enjoy hanging out with, and then still not physically be with them for a very physical thing. Was an adjustment, but I think that we found something that worked for us, and we still got to share energy, and it showed. Yeah,
you're jumping in like deep. You're like, this is a struggle. This is what happened. This is what it's been since March. I'm like, all right, I was gonna lube you up a little bit more than that, but we can go there. We can go there.
My bad. You told me to talk.
Yeah, it's all good. So, how about the rest of y'all? How are y'all feeling?
You go ahead.
I was the same, that run was definitely tough. I think due to the nature of our set, it was challenging because, what we do, we play the same base characters every set. So doing it night after night and trying to make sure that we were doing fresh things, doing innovative things, not trying to avoid doing similar moves to what we did the night before. I feel like it really pushed our creativity, and I think for the better. I think that you know, we continued to get stronger throughout the tournament, and I think we really peaked at our in the championship matchup as well. So it was tough, but I think we all became stronger improvisers because of it.
Yeah. So I'm curious, for those who are watching this that might not have ever seen you perform before, how would you describe Cakewalk? Like, what is it? I'm clearly out of place because I'm not in the Zoom, I'm not on the boat. I'm in the lobby waiting to board. Describe it. Tashika.
Oh, well, when we started, we've adjusted for Zoom. But when we do it, I guess live, it's more of a sitcom feel. And we actually cut our sets down from an hour to 25 minutes to fit more of the format. So that was probably the toughest thing. We had a lot of practice. Like, okay, what are we going to cut? What do we need to get to quickly, get out of? The sort of head and tails of our set, the sort of, I guess, monologue before and after, that's completely new to the tournament. Like, we came up with that probably the day before, a couple of days before our first performance in the tournament. So yeah, we made a bunch of changes, and so yeah, we're a sitcom format. That basically, yeah, we changed everything, and this is what you saw.
Yeah.
Sort of the final product.
I'm realizing as I'm listening to you, Rob, I'm like, where's the South London accent? I was like, who am I talking to? I love it. That commitment is real.
I mean, sometimes it's easy to slip in and out of.
Oh,
if you've been doing it for a few days, it can slip into the work environment. I know there were some group chats that, you know, thought of really was from London. I was a compliment.
Yeah.
Yes.
I questioned it.
That means it's authentic. It's real.
Good shout, as I would say over there. Good shout.
Cheers.
Yeah. Tashika, were you going to jump in and ask this something? Your face.
Yeah, so when we were on the stage, like we had, like they were saying, we had commercials in between each
nice.
we had worked in, like we were just all, it was like we were constantly workshopping stuff to figure out what the format will be. And like Rob said, it was just like, okay, how do we condense this down? Because we had even stopped doing the cruise. We had talked about introducing new characters because we try to take shows like predominantly white cast and flip them into a Black cast. And so it was like, what are we going to do next? What concept? And then the tournament came and Rob was like, you know what, let's give them something different. Cause we were doing like just a basic Armando. We had been performing because we hadn't practiced Zoom Prov as a team. So it was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's do something different. And literally within a week came up with a format to do for the tournament. So
awesome. Super innovative and very impressive to be like, yep, we're doing this competition and we're going to come up with a new format and we're going to do characters for the entire time of the duration. Not sure how long this is going to last. That's awesome. I'm curious, since this is sitcom based, and because you just said, you know, we try and do things that white folks do and flip it, is there any inspiration that y'all have personally to the style of this type of improv? Any sitcoms that come to mind where you're like, yes, I am Kyle, or yes, I am Will, or yes, you are Ashley, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, when we did the Love Boat, I knew I wanted to be the activities girl. I think her name was Julie on Love Boat, because we watched an episode of Love Boat, and I knew I wanted to be Julie, but I didn't know if I was going to play like, you know, a soul sister Jessica or just a caricature of what I see or have seen on the Love Boat. So sometimes it's a little mix of both sometimes.
Yeah. Brandon, you look like you're about to say something. I could feel
I was looking for it too. I thought it was over there, but no, it's hard to try and choose one person because I feel like when we're on the stage, our default to not necessarily choosing one character, but like to be the revolving character of what's needed. And so even thinking about creating Captain Tiberius Walker, it was like, do I want to play this strong, like in charge captain, or do I want to be somebody that can really listen to what's called for, or add some ridiculousness that's going to like throw something into our story? And that's kind of where I landed, to kind of bring back some of that flexibility of the randomness of those characters that I used to create on stage. So it's hard for me to choose the one character, but I feel like whoever that silly one is, that's going to do the ridiculous 17 characters, that's who I would choose. Let's think about Martin.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Oh, go ahead, Hank. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just gonna quickly say, as far as for my character, it was was the last addition to the cruise. There were already characters, and they were already performing for a couple of years before I came on board. So it was one, just trying to figure out a way to have something that was somewhat distinct for my character, but then also, like Brandon said, trying to figure out ways to like kind of fill in the gaps and what needs to be done. So my character tends to be the straight man, voice of reason, voice of the audience a lot. But what I love and when I have fun is that like my character is actually like crazy. And it's fun when like someone triggers one of those like changes. So I've kind of like, I was inspired by Martin, a little bit of Braxton from the Jamie Foxx show. I
see it.
But even he had that like switch where all of a sudden he would just be like crazy. So like, trying to activate those things.
And then how did we land with you, Rob, in a doctor's office or a clinic?
So yeah, I took from a couple of things, like definitely like a lot of well, okay. Okay. So I kind of did this character named Liam, Liam Brixton, and another group called Scrapple that was also in the tournament. I haven't really done them in a while, but I always kind of wanted to work on that accent. And I remember one Scrapple practice, I did it for the entire practice. And it was just the one time. I think one member, somebody called me stubborn because I kept doing it, but I'm like, it's practice. So where else am I going to do this other than practice? And then one of my other, shout out to Logan, my troop member, Logan, was like, I was really impressed that you did that for the entire 2 hours of practice. I was like, so I feel like that accent, I feel like informed a character, and I kind of I've been wanting to work on characters a lot more. Reno 911 was an influence on my character, especially you can't really see it on Zoom, but on stage we all have like whole outfits, and my outfits it's the white shirt, the stethoscope, but really I forget the name of the guy on Reno 911, but the character that has the really high or short shorts, that one cop,
very tiny.
So yeah, very tiny. So I'm a size 18, 16, 18 in women's shorts. Figured that out. Very high white socks, white Vans. Like that's the full Skip Oswald uniform. I think my other inspirations are mostly like just 90s, early 2000s comedies. I feel like Girlfriends is definitely like an inspiration. Martin, Living Single. Even some of the more obscure stuff, like maybe like Homeboys and Outer Space, when things get kind of wacky, which is, I'm sure nobody's ever said that before, that as an inspiration. But, yeah, pull from a lot of things. Oh, there's some British stuff that I kind of watch. That's where I kind of try to pick up on different things about the British accent. I try to keep it kind of straight. It's not super, I don't think it's super regional, really. It's just sort of like I try not to do, well, I don't try not to do, I don't like I know there's like the Caribbean sort of British accent. There's the more of a, I guess, Nigerian British accent. Then there's, I guess, sort of a generic, like almost Ricky Gervais type. North London. There's the northern UK, which almost starts to sound like sort of Scottish. The further north you go. So like I've really done a little bit of accent
You've done
homework.
a lot of research.
Yeah, like I'm really serious about wanting to do that accent pretty well or well enough when people are asking about it. So I guess I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
I leaned in on that. That was good.
You didn't pull out your notebook.
Right. I know.
You want to offer anything else on this question about inspiration for you and your character? You mentioned Love Boat and Julie.
Yeah, I love doing characters. I do a character workshop, and one of the first things I tell people is, don't just rely, shout to you, Rob, but don't just rely on the accent, because a lot of times when people hear it, then they expect you to add like the stereotypical things that people would do that have that accent, but try to create a background story for it. And so that's one of the things that we did when we first started doing Cakewalk, was create background stories, because those become things that we can use and play in scenes together. And when we first started out, we just really used a real generic, we did like a garage or something like
Auto
that.
body shop.
We were auto body shop, what we call Second Wind. And it used to be 5 of us. Shout out to Dante. He did play Guy on the Ebony Cruise. And so it was 4 of us originally. And then we reached out to Hank, and Hank was like that missing link for us. And so we always are working on like different characters. So yeah, when I think about like, not just the Love Boat, but like you said, Living Single or Girlfriends, or even the Cosby Show, because I have been called Pam since Pam appeared on the Cosby Show. So yeah. I sometimes her, because she's always very smart, but she's a little wacky too. So yeah.
Hearing you talk about how our characters transform from location to location, I recognize that a lot of the people that we choose are close to us. And so a lot of the relationships that we see in these places kind of get played out the way that we would like normally interact. And so understanding that backstory of like what's going on with that specific character helps us, but really it's just like kind of us showing up to these environments that makes it so cool. And so we have that backstory that we can rely on, and from show to show we learn more about the characters, and we can bring more to whatever episode that we're doing. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, sorry, I just went on a tangent, but
I love
dig what we're doing.
But
we're doing
just,
You don't have to apologize. We're here for you. Go for it.
just piggybacking off of that, as somebody that watched Cakewalk before I was part of Cakewalk, and just seeing the way that even though every show is distinct, every show is like it's improv. We're making it up as we go along. Because it's done so well, and because you can see the connections with the characters, and you can tell that there's deeper things, you actually feel like you're watching a series. Like I've watched multiple of our sets from the tournament, and like without trying, there's like storylines that go from set to set. And that's really a testament to the fact that like we do take a little bit more time to like dig into the characters, and it becomes familiar for not just us, but also the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brandon, when you were mentioning that you're playing characters that are true to yourself, so there might be some aspects that come out. I distinctly remember, Hank, you had a couple of wardrobe changes in the final scene. So I'm like, I guess that's true to you. Who knows? I don't know if you want to reveal that as a true factor, that with shoulders and tank tops and.
That is closer to me than button up Hawaiian shirt. So Walking around the house, there's a lot of really light shoulders in the Rawlerson household.
I had a friend who watched one of our earlier shows, and afterwards she was recording it, and I'm watching the recording, and she was laughing so hard. And she asked me, she said, "And y'all didn't write that down? Like, this is not a script?" I said, "You were backstage with us and we were trying to get the suggestion."
Oh, right.
Yeah, like it's just like y'all just flowed. It's like y'all were reading from us, like y'all had rehearsed it. But she said, "How do y'all do that?" And I was like, "It takes practice." But like you said, it's that back work that we do to put in so that I know Brandon's character, I know Rob's character, I know Hank's character, so I can pull things from that and to use in scenes. And we tell the audience about that so that they're not left out as well as we're going through the scene. So it's the work.
Yeah, so it sounds like, at least for me, a big difference and distinction from y'all as an improv team. I say y'all because I'm from the South. If y'all are like, "We're in Baltimore, what's happening?" It's not you. One of the things that I'm hearing is that the transition to online just almost offered an extension of what you do on stage and not a complete redesign, because it sounds like you were already dressing up in costume. You were character based as a sitcom, thematically themed improv show and set, and it was longer. So you had the hard time of like, how do we cut this down versus how can we be online for 20 minutes?
Yeah. I think it gives us trying to keep it clean here. It gives me the confidence that we can do whatever we want with this format in any kind of venue or platform, because what we're really trying to do is tell a story with these characters that are consistent from show to show. And so what that looks like, whether we change up the venue, whether we change up like how we present that, maybe write a sketch or two, who knows? I think that we have a strong foundation in establishing this kind of situation-based improv. Hank, where you at? So we have this.
It is a character-based episodic Armando, okay?
Trademark, because that sounds like a very specific trademark in a signature, right? Which is what a lot of people improv shows.
Copyright pending.
Right. Yeah, in my mind now, truthfully, I was like, y'all could market and sell this and do classes on how to make this happen. Are y'all teaching this format, or is this like an in-house secret recipe?
Oh, that's coming. We're working on that. Even after our first couple of shows, I was like, I need y'all to get ready to teach this format. People are always reaching out to me, and I'm like, this is not Diana Ross and the Supremes. This is Cakewalk. You will reach out to all of them when you need stuff. So yeah, it's definitely something that is in the works for us to start teaching this format and doing workshops and stuff.
But that's not to downplay that Tashika is an amazing teacher and offers all sorts of classes, and everybody that's tuned in should sign up for everything that she offers.
There's a reason that Tashika is in demand. I believe you saw that play out throughout the tournament.
I love that. I love that moment that just happened, because it could have been such a bit and it wasn't. I felt that genuine love. Oh, Tashika. So
you got a tear.
Yes, because we're talking about characters, and I think especially for Black folks, and this is something I've thought about with improv, with performing, is how do you balance being a caricature and a trope when you're playing a character with the addedness of identity of being Black on stage? And have y'all run into that in any previous shows, or is that a conscious thing? Brandon, you're giving me the biggest smile. Do you have thoughts on it?
Because I'm looking at Tashika's face.
Looking at your face, thinking about what you're thinking about.
Mind meld.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because at least for me, this is a conversation that I'd love to explore with y'all because of the type of show that you offer. And because it is so character driven and based, it can very easily be potentially a slippery slope of falling into caricatures of real people.
Well, I think Hank or Brandon said this earlier. We do play, our characters are very close to ourselves and who we are. And Black people are not a monolith. I think that comes across.
Can you say that
And
one more time for the people that like fall asleep?
Black people are not a monolith. There's no one way to be Black. And I think Black people need to hear that. Everybody needs to hear that, because our experiences are very different. Yeah, that comes out on stage, that comes out in me. I am very different. I'm sure my teammates will. Yeah, see, Hank is squinting at the fact. His whole face. He was like, yes.
Do you want to elaborate, or do other people on the team want to elaborate? Because we're trying to get to know y'all as part of this interview. And I'm like, I feel like there's a lot of inside secrets. And I'm like, what do you want?
I mean, we're all literally from different parts of the country. Brandon's from Detroit, Hank, Philadelphia, Tashika, North Carolina, and I'm from Baltimore. So we're all bringing different experiences. Hank and I might be a little closer because it's where we talk about accents earlier. We just did a show and the Philadelphia accent came up, and the Maryland, certain parts of Maryland, Philadelphia have that same accent. There's like sort of a, was it mid-Atlantic accent that some people have, that I'm sure we both have heard and been annoyed by. So yeah, we're all, being Black is different individually. It's different regionally. It's, being Black in Maryland is different from being Black in North Carolina. Is different from being Black in Detroit, Tennessee, the UK, wherever you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
And one of the things that we always do in our shows is we continue to play at the top of our intelligence. Like we are never going to misrepresent the Black experience on stage. And I think that's what people appreciate when they come to our shows, is that they're not going to see any shucking and jiving on the stage. They're going to see real characters that they can relate with, and they'll look, even if we introduce a new character, they will still see some piece of themselves that will go, I know what they're talking about. That's why it becomes funny. We have people that we don't even know that have seen our shows come up to us and like, I love Cakewalk. Like, this is my favorite troupe. Because we play, as we've all said before, so true to ourselves, or even if we're representing somebody in our family or, people we've seen in movies, we always represent them in a true light.
Yeah. How does that feel when in the before times and people could come up to you after a show? How does that feel to have that immediate recognition coming off stage of, you're my favorite troupe, I've never seen something like this, or I could completely relate to what was said on stage?
I think that, pause, the slow intro. I think that it's very different than the other improv experiences that I've had. So whether it's being with an indie troupe, on a house team, or with the class showcase, it's always been, how did I do in this experience? And for me, even if somebody comes up and says that I love Captain Tiberius Walker, I hear Cakewalk is the shit. And so it's a very different experience to play with not that those people didn't have my back. There's something about how I relate to being this character on this stage with this group that's different than any other improv that I've done. And so when I hear that, it's like we're doing something that I've never done before, and it feels very different to me, and I love it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just to echo that, I think we've all been the only Black person on a troupe or on stage, and I think that going back to the previous question, when you sometimes get into those tropes, it becomes because you're trying to be extra Black, or you're trying to be something. Whereas, like Cakewalk just is Black. Like it's Black comedy. It's unapologetically Black, and we're not trying to be anything out of anything. Like Tashika said, like one of the things that we always do is, even though we have our characters, we almost always introduce other characters just to liven things up. But even those people, even if they don't have the depth, they're coming from a place of, at least for me, they're coming from a place of like real people that I know. So like, if I'm being somebody, it's it's an uncle, it's an aunt, it's somebody that I've had that relationship with. So I'm able to draw upon them, and because I do respect those people, I'm treating the character with the respect, and I think it shows.
Exactly.
That's it.
Shows there, and just on the fan, like I mean, it is amazing when somebody appreciates your work, because at the end of the day, like, this is art, so it's a vulnerable to be up there. Like, for the championship, bunch of people and people that have never seen me perform before, and just lean back, and it was like not scary, but it was like, shit, man, like, I got to make sure I do a good job, because this might be the last time when these people ever watch improv, period, let alone, watch me. So but I was comfortable because I knew who I was performing with. I knew that we had something great, and just getting that feedback was great. It made it worth it.
Right.
Let me piggyback off that caricature idea, because I think that respect thing that you talked about is a really big thing. And when you don't have to worry about whether the person on the other side of you is going to understand this move that you're trying to make, or understand the reference that you're trying to make, it hits different. You deliver it differently, it lands differently, and you don't have to second guess every move after that. So it makes a big difference when you can play something familiar that could be a caricature, but really ground it, because everybody knows what's going on. It just makes a big difference. So
Yeah, at least
I apologize again.
Don't.
we're here for you.
Let me just one thing. I've been lucky enough to rarely be the only Black person in the troupe, and I have to shout out Brandin, because Brandin and I think we do very little improv apart, and I don't know if that's on purpose, but that's how it happened. So yeah, we started out improv together. Like, I believe our 102 class was our first class together. We've basically been mostly in the same troops ever since. Like, I've probably done the most improv with Brandin. And I started this 5-6 years ago now.
6 years.
Yeah. So shout out to Brandin, my road dog.
Nice. I was going to ask how the team came together, because there was reference to another person that was on the boat and in the show that's no longer on the boat. You didn't throw them overboard, but they just departed. And then
We just made a stop. He didn't depart. We just made a stop. We might be back there.
Right. It was actually 2 people.
Oh yeah, it was
Devin, who was
Wait, start at the beginning. Because we got to give a shout out to Tashika's bestie.
We do. Yeah, no, that's been on my mind. Like, we have to. Tashika will do it best.
Yeah, because that's my bestie. Blue sent a message to all of us individually. It was me, Rob, Dante, and Brandin, and she said, "Come to the theater," and we all showed up.
Such a secret message. Such a secret message. We're gonna do something. I want to talk about something. What?
Right.
Okay.
We all showed up and was like, "Oh, you got the message too." And she came in and was like, "You all are a troupe." And we were just like, "Okay, yeah, I want you all to work on something. We're gonna figure it out." And that's what we did. And so for a while, it was just the 4 of us. And then we used to introduce like guest stars when we did Cakewalk. And so Devin was part of the one of our consistent guest stars. And so we asked him to be a part of it. And he did it, but then he was like, "I really don't have the bandwidth to keep up with Cakewalk, but I do have someone that I think you all would like." And he said, "Hank." And I was like, "Who?" Who's that? And so they was like, Hank. And honestly, I thought Hank was having a different Black experience at the theater. And so, but when I met him, I was like, "Oh no, he black. Oh no, Hank is like, fuck with me." And I'm like, "Yeah." So Hank was that piece that we needed. Once he got in, he really just jumped in. And I don't even think it took us that long to come up with his character. He was like, I'm HR, and it was like, just figure out a name. And so yeah, and then it was 5 of us, and Dante is off to do wonderful things. We still got his back. We know he still has ours, but it has been like, we don't even have any like troop beef. And we get together for practice, you know, and it's always a good time. Like, it is never like, this is such a drag, or I don't feel like doing this. It is always just, we figure it out, and then we get on stage and smash. Now, are all of our scenes super funny? They're not. But you are always entertained. You are always entertained when you leave us. And that just goes to show, like, the conversations that we have offline, and that we're always going to show up as our authentic selves on stage.
Yeah. Going back to character work, Devin was like, he played shout out to Scooter. That was his name, Scooter, on the ship. He played a lot of different characters. When we would bring clothes and props and stuff, and like what he does with a FUBU jersey is just magic.
A 3X FUBU jersey.
Yeah, I still have a couple of FUBU jerseys from back in the day. And I was like, you know what? Props. These are clearly props. These have traveled with me for a reason. So yeah. We character changes was something we hadn't done, I think, in a while. In the beginning, I don't think we did very many, but I forget the second or third show, I believe Hank did a couple characters. I think I did a couple, and we were like, that felt good. But to do that again, we need to bring that back. And then as the tournament went on, that's when you saw more wardrobe changes, multiple people playing multiple characters. Brandin on stage always played a lot of multiple characters, a lot of various people with different points of view, and just Brandin and Devin definitely just need to bring that back. Yeah,
I think in the tournament it was Tashika that started the character because she was using just props.
That was props, exactly.
Into characters. So she had her dummy head on it, and we would all just start. Once that inspiration came, and it was like,
exactly.
Okay, cool, let's get these other characters going and make them out of whatever was sitting on the desk. Like people saw in the show is around me right now. It's just random.
So the infamous
the mannequin.
No, I was gonna say not the itty bitty. It wasn't itty bitty, but the infamous titty pic.
Oh God, where's my titty pic at?
Yeah, that will forever stay on.
Just even titties.
A little lopsided.
But that's real life. Like, no woman and some men have symmetrical breasts. So that was real life art.
Life facts, improv advice, all in this. I'm curious. I do see that we do have a question for one person in particular. I do want to focus in though on the coaching, and I want to focus in on Blue and give her some shine a little bit. And I'm curious what that experience is like to be coached by Blue, because I know Blue offline. I feel like Blue has risen to fame in this online improv world, and rightly so, and is getting props in a phenomenal way. So I feel, and probably a lot of people feel, very envious that you get to be coached by her. So what is that experience like?
Amazing. No, we'll back up to shout out to Casually Dope. I think that coming to Baltimore and doing improv in Baltimore, after my first class and realizing how much improv costs, I only stuck around because of Casually Dope and the things that they did on that stage as Black people. I didn't see that in my classes, and the only reason I stayed was because of them. So shout out to them and everything that they do. Being coached by Blue was an opportunity to kind of step into this space, like, and be Black in it. And so not only does she bring all of her artistry, from music to theater to art and all that experience and relationships, but like a professionalism and a familiarity that I hadn't really experienced. Sorry. Oops. I did that on purpose. And I think that's really what Blue brings, that familiarity, the thing that makes you feel like family. So yeah, we're getting coached. Yeah, we're getting fundamentals and really drilled on things that make sense on the stage. But we also feel like we're getting feedback from somebody that cares about us and somebody that like wants to see us do better. Yeah, book Blue, pay her to come do funny stuff for you, call her, and let her talk to you because she got some stuff to say about improv. Do it.
Like it.
So like for me, I have to echo exactly what Brandon said. Like improv was okay. I didn't really go watch shows. I was taking classes and I don't think I ever went to a show. Like I was on a Herald Night team and never been to Herald Night. The only shows I would go see were Casually Dope. And that was the first time I went and saw a show. It was a Casually Dope show. And I was like, oh shit, you could do this on stage? Like, it doesn't have to be like exactly what they taught me in class. Like I can do this and I can be like myself on stage. Like it's amazing. So like to have Blue as the person that, you know, first of all, put the group together, but then also the person that we can talk to and, you know, just throw things off of, it's amazing. Like to me, like I'm a huge like Rockefeller fan, right? So like I'm going somewhere with it. Don't worry.
Lean back.
So like I looked at Casually Dope like shit. That's like it was like Rockefeller in his prime. Like oh my god. So it was like almost like yeah. It was like Blue like had like Rock Nation and like underneath it. So it's like we didn't get a Rockefeller chain, but you know we got to work with Hove. So
I like it.
I'm gonna go throw it.
Yeah, Hove did that so we wouldn't have to go through that.
I tell her that all the time. I tell her all the time.
Yeah,
She
I mean, yeah,
so we can walk.
we can't not recognize Casually Dope. AJ, Justin, Ty, Rashid, Blue, Harold. You can't.
And Jason.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, we can't. Because seeing them, because you almost see close to one sort of side of improv,
Mhm.
and then Casually Dope, just Kool-Aid man through the wall. We in here,
Right.
and it completely changed the way I looked at it. Because yeah, like I was sort of improv wasn't sort of on the forefront of anything. Like you don't really grow up knowing. You grow up knowing stand-ups, maybe sketch people, but you don't grow up knowing improv because it's really not visible of a format outside of just going to go see it.
Right.
So yeah, shout out to them. Blue is a very nurturing coach. Having her, she like if you try a new move, she sees it and can help you develop it. She was instrumental in developing the format. There's a lot of trial and error. It's like, yeah, this worked, this thing didn't work, but I see what you're doing, and it could be if we twist it this way, you come at it from this angle. So yeah, like without her, I don't know, we wouldn't be who we are today.
And we had like Jason came in to teach the story arc, and Ty has coached us. So a half of Casually Dope, Rashid has played in, and Harold has played in with us. So half of Casually Dope, or at least 95% of it, has touched Cakewalk in some way in shaping what we do on stage.
That's beautiful.
We play together.
Oh, go for it, Brandon.
Sorry, I'm saying that we play together pretty often. It's a real unified community out here. I mean, not just the Black people. Of course, we love our skin folk, but also the community in general. We have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Baltimore showed up for us in the finals for sure.
I feel like I have my own Casually Dope story. I'm sure a lot of other folks have their own. Like I remember when I first saw Casually Dope story. So thank you for uplifting that. And I think it's important because I think people see improvisers on stage and they're like, there are people that poured into them that impact the gifts that you're receiving from them performing. So thank you for upholding, I was going to say ancestors and elders, because that's what it, when we're talking about them, that's what it feels like and recognizing that in real time. Because I think that that's important, because improv upholds, some people in improv uphold different folks that aren't skin folk. And it's important to offer that recognition when we can. So thank you.
Mhm.
So there's a question in the chat, and this is a gender-based question. So there's a question for folks, and this comes from Michelle Rodino Colonsino. I probably fudged the crap out of your last name. Apologies for that. So the question is, Tashika, how is it being the only woman identifying member? And Brandin, Hank, and Rob, how do you play and support, knowing that sometimes men identifying players can dominate or have their ideas yes-anded more than women identifying players?
Well, as a straight woman, I am quite bossy. So these men cannot dominate me because I will dominate them. No, seriously, I have never had a problem with these guys. They are so nurturing. I mean, shout out to their mamas and their for raising them to be very thoughtful and kind and considerate people. I have, even if I mention a female thing, it's like, and they acknowledge it and they move on. They don't go, ooh, you talking about that. I mean, sometimes I have to be a woman. So I never feel like I have to shrink when I'm on stage with them. I never feel like my characters are being diminished or, like they're talking over me. It is always like, let's include, it's not even a let's include, it's just like family, we're all in this together. So it has never been a problem for me. And honestly, I am quite frequently the only female in my crew. I have more male friends than I do female friends. So it's always easy for me to kind of, slip into this where I'm sometimes the only woman, in the room with them. So yeah, and they are just amazing. I literally have nothing negative to say about any of them. Even when it's Dante and Devin, I've never had come away feeling like, oh, I gotta, like they were mansplaining something to me, or I have to say, hey guys, remember I've got breasts and a vagina. I've never had to do that. Like I am truly blessed when it comes to this right here. Because as they said before, when I started improv, I was like, ooh, this is weird. And I don't really see a lot of Black people. I was on a Herald team with Rob. And again, when I met Rob, I thought we're not having the same Black experience. So I didn't quite, because Rob had like the different color hair and with the twist. Does this a lot, and
I do.
He do this a lot, and so I didn't know. But once I got to know Rob, I was like, okay, and I appreciate and love him for who he is and what he brings to the stage, and even in personal conversations, like he's just the best. So I have never felt like I had to shrink around them. They are amazing. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I think we approach all of our relationships, personally and on stage, with respect. So I wouldn't disrespect Tashika in real life. So I'm not going to disrespect on stage.
Yeah.
Usually, I think I tend to follow Tashika's lead more than try to lead our scenes, because I just think she's such a brilliant improviser, and for her to, the things that she creates are usually, in my opinion, better than what I'm thinking of. So I'm if she creates something, I love to be able to paint the walls after she puts it up.
Yeah, I remember when I first met Tashika, it was when Blue sent that initial message. She named people. It's like Tashika. I was like, who's Tashika? I don't know who it is. And then we were in a Herald workshop. And that's where I first met her. And then we were in a Herald team together. So it was like, so there was 0 Tashika and then a lot of Tashika immediately. So I was like, but Tashika's a very genuine person. There's no like gender weird. It's all just respect everybody's coming from, not coming in with anything preconceived about anybody. Yeah, it's all friends, it's all family. We're here to be funny and to entertain. And yeah, that's I think how everybody pretty much approaches it.
Anything to add to that, Brandon?
This is a hard, it bleeds for Tashika.
I love a props. Yeah.
That's me. I met you in a workshop and it's been love ever since. She actually, I feel
Same
like
workshop?
you knew. No, it was a different workshop. I think it's the workshop that she met Blue. You and Blue met.
Yeah, at the Keisha Zolar workshop. That's where I met Brandon.
Oh, was that the first one?
We were being very Black in that, and then she treated me like we was family and we knew each other already. And I was like, oh. But then, like Rob said, it was like no Tashika, then a lot of Tashika.
And we love every second.
Exactly, it's all love.
That's awesome. So there's a possibility that people might be watching this who have never taken an improv class before, or are just like, I've never seen Black people do improv before. So if y'all could just share a little bit about what brought you to improv and maybe why you stay performing.
Ooh.
For me, my day-to-day life was very, very serious. It was very between being a parent, being like in management at work and things like that. Like I felt like I was constantly just being a serious person. And like throughout my life, I always performed, but I lost, that just focusing on other things in my life. So I really just took classes so that I could have that break, have a chance to just be silly, have fun with adults, and that's why I did improv, and why I stuck with improv is probably the people here, the people that we mentioned, Casually Dope, definitely my different indie teams, different people that I played with, but it was more the people, the community, than anything else that kept me with it. So I don't even know if like Tashika knows this or remembers this, but we all started performing at Big, and they had they used to do a Black or it wasn't just a Black jam, but it turned into just like people showed up to do this jam, and it was it would be the jam, then it'd be Casually Dope show, then Tastemakers, then something in between, and then Cakewalk. But when did the jam, have fun or whatever, and Tashika was just like, "Yeah, you gonna do Tastemakers later?" No.
Oh,
just throw right in.
Like I literally, I'd never like been on the main stage, like besides performing for like class, showcases and things like that. And it was like, oh yeah, you want to perform at 8 o'clock on a Saturday with all these people that you like look up to? I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do it. I don't think I did anything besides like a group scene that first night, but just like her like offering that and like being like, yeah, fuck it, just jump on the stage with us. Like that like probably changed my improv life.
Remember that. And knowing me, when I see Black people, I'm just like, come with us.
She thought she knew you. I told you. She started talking to you like you was family.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, just come with us. So I did a little bit of improv, like a very little improv in Charlotte. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna take some improv classes when I come back to Baltimore. And I did it. And like I said before, I was like, oh, this is weird. I don't want to do this no more. And But then somebody was like, oh, I'm going to take another class. And my second teacher was Ty Coleman. And he is the reason why I was like, all right, I'll stay for another class. And then the workshop happened and I met Blue. And then it just, so like this, if it wasn't for making those connections with them, I would not have stayed with improv for as long as I have, because it can be a little cliquish. And so it felt great to be welcomed. It was like welcoming into, it was like, that scene in The Color Purple when they're like, Mama, wanna see the mama. That's how it felt. I was like, okay, I found my people. I'll be right a little while longer. So I hope that when other performers or Black people see that, or they see improv, try to find a space, or just you can connect with us. Like, our stuff is on the screen to figure out how to make your mark in this, because we need more representation in this art. It's still very lopsided, and we need more representation. So, because I know Rob and Brandon gotta go.
Well, I mean, I don't know, I work in radio and I found myself not fully being able to do what I wanted to do in radio. So I was like, oh, I had thought about improv before. I didn't know of any in the area. Then I talked to Harold. Harold and I are like friends before improv of Casually Dope. So we were at a friend's birthday party, and he just casually mentioned like, yeah, I'm going to start improv classes in the summer, and I was going to do it in the fall with Big. And I go, oh, you were going to do that too? I was like, you know what? We might as well just start together. Like I just signed up. We started together, and we've both been doing improv since. We were in 2 different indie troupes, and those troupes are like, that was like a big friend group of people that started together. Brandon was included. Brandon, both and I, when we met, it was Ty in Ty's class.
Mhm.
And yeah, Ty's first off, if Ty has a workshop, take the workshop.
Take it.
Ty is amazing.
Twice.
Yeah, take it
Right.
2 times. Yeah, or just pay him twice, whatever,
Right.
something, because he deserves. Yeah, that's been my improv journey. Just started with Harold, who's now in Casually Dope, and now we're both doing our comedy things and writing and stuff behind the scenes. And yeah, it's been a long journey. Also, it is really good to have an outlet for when you want to be wacky, or there's things you can't do in your normal life. I know improv, sometimes you want to get something off your chest, and you can do it when you find a reason to do it in the scene. Get it off a little bit. So sometimes some things happen in life, and you just, let me just get a little bit of this out. I'm not going to like run over the scene, but just like, let me get this point of view out that I've experienced on the stage. And improv can be therapeutic in that way, to maybe, make light of something that happened in real life.
Not the comedy.
Shout out to comedy. Comedy.
I guess that's a good segue. I started doing improv with Rob, of course, about 5 or 6 years ago, taking classes, but I got here because I was like a play actor my whole life. So like random productions throughout different phases. And then I tried to go to the Arena Players, which is one of the oldest Black theater companies here in Baltimore, and do a little quick audition, little table read, and did not have a monologue. And then when I tried to read the monologue they had there, I was so embarrassed that I couldn't even read the words on the page. And I was like, this is a little more serious than I was trying to do. And found the Baltimore Improv Group, which was exactly what I was looking for. Those improv games, that fun warm-up stuff to get to learning the lines. And then still the creation of characters, which I really love. And so sticking with it, my first improv teacher, Catherine Carlson, like pulled me aside. I was like, hey, you're good at this. And I was like, affirmation, thank you. But it was really, like everybody else said, Ty, who created this space that even Catherine didn't create in that one-on-one class. Ty created a space It wasn't just Black people. It was a diverse class where we all felt comfortable. We all felt like kids, and there was a connection that was fostered just from learning this art form. And so, like Rob said, we still communicate to this day. 2 troops came out of that class, and we still are all. Maybe the troops don't look the same, but we still are connected. Go to each other's weddings and enjoy live moments together, all because of that moment that was initiated back then. And so, for people who are looking to get into improv, yes, there's family, yes, there's connections, but I think on the other side of that, there's also like this life stuff that you get from like how you communicate ideas, how you listen to people in the moment, and how you let go of your own stuff to be present in that. And that is really like deep stuff that I don't think people talk about enough, or that we really focus on in this art form. But it's really changed the way I show up, whether it's being goofy or really just like being present and in the moment. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, Ty and Blue are still to this day, some of the only and some of my first Black improv teachers ever. So yes, big shout out to them. Legacy builders for sure, generation makers, absolutely. So there is a question from Blue, actually, from the chat. And it says, love y'all, exclamation point. When the world opens, where are some places you look forward to performing?
Oh.
And I would say make this like a performance bucket list, like dream big on this one, because people might be watching.
Exactly.
Okay.
I just want us to go over the water, like somewhere on another continent and do improv. Like we know we're gonna be at Black and Funny and in Toronto, but I want to go in different time zones and let people.
I'm just saying, I did my 23andMe. We can go to Nigeria if y'all feel like
it. Hey, do it. Let's
get
do
that
it.
shot.
I want Rob to test all that accent knowledge.
Exactly.
We're going to London, baby. Let's see how real it is.
You know what? Yeah, immerse Dr. Skip in the accent and see what happens. And I've thought about that. Like, would that be embarrassing? would they like call it out? Like, no. But it'd just be a chance to sharpen it, honestly.
Right.
In a show, no, because I've done a British accent in London. In a show, it's just like someone else who doesn't have an American accent doing an American accent. I was like, what?
I guess the stage will give a context of why I'm doing the accent.
Right.
I mean, if you're just bopping down the street speaking in a London accent, that might be a little.
I mean, I've incorporated some slang in my life. But
in the last show, I heard that.
Yeah, that's what Dante always. That's how me and Dante always get each other, bro. That ain't going to,
So I'm hearing UK vibes. I'm hearing London vibes. I'm just gonna put it in the atmosphere possible. Edinburgh festival vibes. Like aim big. Like one of the things that I have often told folks, and I don't know if y'all know this about me. I feel like I'm going to be that person that's going to do this thing, but I'll do it anyway.
Don't you apologize?
Right.
I'm not apologizing, but so I used to live in London, and I would tell people all the time, like, come over, like, come. There's room for you. There's paid opportunities for you. There's appreciation. Yeah, so do it. So other than the UK, where else do y'all want to go? Nigeria, where else? Put some stuff in the atmosphere.
Hawaii, like all over. Have plane go travel.
Definitely like to do some shows in Asian countries.
Wherever they have it. I mean, like one of the cool things about the whole pandemic, which sounds weird, and virtual improv is I've seen like other groups from other countries, especially like other Black groups. Like we did the Black Impact fundraiser, the first 2, and there's going to be a third one coming up soon in June. I don't know if I'm supposed to announce that, but whatever. But seeing that, like there were troops from London, there were troops, New York, all over the country, and also international troops as well. So I honestly, I never even thought that we could do this in other countries. So shit.
I just looked up the Australian Improv Festival, and that's been on my bucket list since I knew passports were a thing. Let's go.
Yeah, I think it might be a little hard to get into the country for a couple of years, but do it for
You
sure.
can let this improv in.
Yeah, they just opened up their theaters there. They have theater shows now. I don't know if y'all heard that. Like today, they're like, we're open.
Yeah, I did see that.
Okay. Yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah, so it's possible. So I have 2 more questions, but I wanted to see if y'all had any questions for each other.
Mm.
Do you have any questions for me? Do we want to do it offline? Okay.
No, I mean.
Okay. Y'all trying to do honesty box? What?
Right, well,
It's an opportunity because y'all might want to like, I feel like there's some inside jokes here, and I'm doing like the laughing, smiling thing. I'm like, maybe.
Well, I will share the funniest character that you guys have done that I still, and I will have to say 2 because one took me off guard. The funniest character I've ever seen Brandin do was when we did, I think maybe the 3rd Cakewalk show, and he came out as a white girl at a Starbucks parking lot.
How did I know?
Yes. Yes.
How did I know?
And it was him and Rashid, and they were white girls trying to sell this car that they really had stolen. And Brandin as a white lady is hilarious. It's so good.
I work in nonprofit. It's my career, so.
And my most recent favorite character was during the tournament. I had call scene. I was getting ready to make another move, and I did not make it quick enough because Hank came on the scene with his ivory shoulders. And what took me so long to come on the screen was I was trying to get myself together. I was like, what? So I put down my props and I said, yes, Chad. And I have literally watched that set, I know at least 10 times. And that part always kills me. That and Rob saying to Chad, you are not in an R&B group. It's like my favorite.
Like how Chad was like 2 characters, like on the clock Chad and off the clock Chad.
Right.
Like it was just so great.
So good.
Check out the replay on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I have a question. Where did the name come from?
Oh, did we ever have another? I don't think there was any other choice for the name.
No. You made the suggestion that we said yes, please.
Yeah.
But you do know that the name is rooted in racism because Cakewalk is what white people used to do this dance. They get all dressed up and then they would try to do their best dance routine, and whoever won got a cake. And so the black servants at the time would mimic that. They would get together in their own little thing and mimic what they saw the white people trying to dance. And they just adapted the name Cakewalk. And so we decided to take that and apply that to our troupe. So that's where the name came from.
Yeah.
I did cakewalks in elementary school.
Ooh.
Okay, nobody else? That's just a Southern thing. Okay.
I did read that while we were when it first came up, and I didn't realize it was so close, right? Like it's still so present. It felt appropriate because of how we came together. We all felt like something was missing in the improv that we were doing, and this just felt so right so immediately that it was so appropriate. But it when she first said it, it felt like something so long ago. So to hear that you did something like this in school, it just speaks to like why we're doing what we're doing and the fact that we're supposed to be doing it.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was mass. Just like I'm trying to like. I'm remembering like this.
No, it wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. I wasn't gonna go there. It probably wasn't okay at all.
It probably wasn't okay.
Yep. So there were a couple of other questions that have come in. I'm going to ask some of these as our final question. Whew, lots of questions. From Blue, can we talk about Rob's armadillo character when he stopped an audience member from making a bunch of noise?
Yeah. So what's missing from Zoom is the live audience element. Sometimes it's just the laughter back and forth, and that transference of energy. But then sometimes there's some extra energy where people are like talking, people are like eating. So in this one scene, I think I had pet armadillos. So then we just became armadillos, and I remember, I think Guy, Dante's character, was like afraid of them.
Yeah.
So I came on the stage, and there was this dude had just been, and his friend were just been like kind of like chatty the whole time and like loudly eating mobile gas station snacks or whatever's on the corner of Charles Street and Landville or whatever. And I remember, of course, like animals, just being true to character for an animal that I guess scavenges. I armadilled myself up to his food with my face, got in his bag, pulled out whatever bag of nuts or sunflower seeds, I believe, and continued to armadillo my way across the stage and just kept his snacks.
Very questionable choices.
What happened after? Was there a reaction from them? Did they just watch you do this?
They didn't have a choice but to watch me.
Right.
Who's gonna check me? Like, come on. Like, your snacks are mine now. Like,
Been talking the whole set. We've tried to quiet you down. So now you're a part of the set. That's
They were much more engaged.
right.
They got called out though. I feel like Tashika, you literally called them out and said stop talking, but they kept going until their snacks got snatched.
And
So
then
I'm learning to, one, I can bring snacks, but they need to be quiet snacks. And two, if I'm not quiet about it, they might get debowed. So that's what I'm taking.
I think it's the sharing. It was a sharing of the snack. It was like, do you want the nuts or do you want the Skittles? And then they had to talk about the flavors. That was
They
the
were
part that was
like no, like with no hush in their voice at all, just like full, like they were outside with some like,
Right.
okay, well, and that's the one thing about, I guess, like heckling when I watch like live, like local live stand up or improv. Like if you make yourself known or you try to make it all about you, I will meet you there. And we could do a scene. I will drag you in to this improv set and we'll see, because I'm not gonna blink. So I'll do whatever on stage.
Do it, Sometimes that's the way to do it. Cool. So there's some other questions. One from Candace Harris asked, does Cakewalk host jams? What if people want to play with the champions? Because you mentioned guest appearances earlier, and that seemed like a past thing. So is there an opportunity to play with y'all online and or in a jam?
Probably we have to think about the jam thing, but
the secretary is taking notes.
I like it. We most certainly will look at incorporating guest stars again to kind of expand it, because we are thinking about moving away from the boat and doing a new type of show with a new theme. So yeah, that would be exciting to add that element back. And shout out to Jason Herbert, who showed up as a guest star along with Devin so many times, like did not have a problem putting, scarf around his neck. Just shout out to the people who were guest stars: Michelle, Renee,
Sherrod,
Harold,
showed up
Ty.
and just wore whatever we gave them to be guest stars on our show. We are very thankful for that. So yeah, absolutely. We would love to start incorporating guest stars in our show. You know, the one person who hasn't guest starred in our show?
Blue.
Blue.
So calling Blue out right now.
But Blue was on production though. Blue was on the side screaming at production.
She
Play the song.
Hit the lights. Hit the lights. Fade out. We're going to commercial.
let me do it.
So a final, a final question, unless y'all have any other questions or things to say before I reach our final question. Oh,
Sorry, not to expand it and make it longer, but
yeah.
one of we have some things that never made it to like the stage or made it to like Zoom. And when we were talking about like the funniest characters, I gotta give Rob a shout out because it was one day in practice, and I wish we would have recorded this, but Skip is also a model, and and he had this whole thing going where he was like every time he walked in a room, he would just, like we would just start doing like. And he would just like stroll along
in those tiny shorts.
Eventually he died. Like he had a heart attack and he fell down, and like we like had to revive him, and like his heart turned in. It was so great, and that was one of my first practices. I was like, oh, this is so fun.
Forgot about that.
That was good practice.
So there might be some hidden files that could potentially go into sketches or future work. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
There's a curiosity and an itch from the audience and also from myself with this final question of where can we find you next? When's your next show? What's upcoming for you? Where can the people watch?
We are every first Friday at the Block Party on Highwire. That's a show that Blue curated. We play there. We do perform on Highwire's monthly or weekly programming. They're getting ready to end their season, so we'll have to figure out what that date will look like. But we will certainly be working look out for upcoming workshops. And we may even try to figure out a jam, because I just saw that Socially Distanced would gladly host a cakewalk jam. So yeah, just be on the lookout for those things, but most certainly on Highwire, where we are performing regularly. And you can always check out upcoming events on our Instagram page, Cakewalk Comedy.
Cool.
Reach out, cakewalkimprov@gmail.com, facebook.com/cakewalkimprov. That's where Tashika and Rob are always posting the things, so find us there.
Oh, and anything individually that y'all want to promote? Y'all are such a lovely, supportive group. Anything individually that y'all want to shout out for yourself?
I have the show coming up with the Sudden Knot. I'm not sure of the date. I'm so sorry, guys. It's on the calendar somewhere. That'll be coming up. They're pretty good about advertising it, so I'll share it across all medias to keep us posted. So I think that's it. I think that's all I have. If not, I'll share it. I'll share it.
Anybody else?
I'm Rob Phoenix across all social media. If you want to give me a follow. Perform also with Brandin. I also perform with Scrapple once a month with Highwire. Those shows are usually Wednesdays at 7 once a month. So like I'll post about that. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, follow me on the socials. I'm at Billy Beige, just the color of my shoulders. Yeah, I really don't have any shows coming up besides cakewalk shows right now. I'm in a couple different groups that are on hiatus. Shout out to Standing Room Only, but yeah, right now it's cakewalk.
If you're into vegetables, follow me on Instagram, Filtered Food with PH, no Fs.
Oh God. Thank you for that. And if y'all want to find me, I perform with The Replacements, which is a new team for me, and I'll make my debut tomorrow evening on Highwire Improv, and then other things, just go to my website, marycparker.com. Thank you so much for spending time with me tonight and with the people and answering questions and allowing me the honor to interview y'all. Thank you so much. And again, congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
And
Yeah.
shout out to Kim Alou for, again, that was a lot of work, and she is amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to
Amazing.
Kim, Socially Distant Improv. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night. Bye.
Uh,